For fans, by fans. Section 336, the next generation of Baltimore sports talk.
Oh, this is me.
Today on the show, I mean, I can do it. I've been doing it for 7 weeks or whatever.
Today on the show, Matt and Bert are back, so the whole crew is back together, and that's really all you need to know for this episode. But we will talk Orioles, of course, a little Dylan Bundy action, a little attendance, and we might even get into some Ravens talk. All that and more on this edition of Section 336.
The boys are back in town, boys are back in town. I said, the boys are back in town. 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 Boys are back in town.
Section 336.com. Buckle up, birds, be ready to ride. Your host, Matt, Josh, and Bert are ready to fly. Baltimore's best, Section 336, the #1 sports broadcast. Get your fix. What's the news? Let's talk about Buck, our favorite Orioles. What's the latest lineup? Home runs and stolen bases. This is a trip. Stay tuned in at 336.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Baltimore sports fans of all ages, welcome to Section 336, the next generation of Baltimore sports talk. I am, of course, your endearingly stuttering host, Matt Soroka. As always, I'm joined by the zany Bert Rohde.
What up, 336ers? Back in the house.
And the button lover, Josh Soroka.
Kind of glad you guys are back. We had some good shows, but it's been different.
Yeah.
It's definitely been some different shows.
Well, I know you've been holding the fort down, Josh, and we're grateful and we appreciate it. But now that I'm back, and now that Bert's back, I think you can kind of take a step back, Josh, right? Don't get too comfortable with that microphone because I'm here to fill up
Does
the
this mean I get a
airtime.
couple weeks off?
Well, you can be here. We still need someone to hit the buttons. All right, but you don't have to dominate the conversation because we're back. But we do want to give a huge thanks and shout out to all the people who filled in over the past 2 months.
Did you guys listen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know who filled in?
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. We can go back to, I think, the first episode that was done without me, but Bert was here. I just want to give a shout out to Bert on his great introduction.
Oh yeah, I was very loud that week apparently.
Oh.
I burned out Josh's ears.
I think there was only 1 week with the two of us in studio, right?
Yeah.
But the best part of it was your introduction, and I think it involved 2 Meg Ryan movie references.
That's true. Yeah, Cities of Angels and Sleepless in Seattle. Because
yeah.
it was a terrible West Coast trip. We were in Seattle and Los Angeles, City of Angels.
And City of Angels, not many people would pick up on that Meg Ryan reference with Nicolas Cage. Great film.
Well, fortunately, it had like one of the greatest songs ever in Goo Goo Dolls' Iris.
Oh my goodness, don't get me started.
And I don't want the world to see. So you got me started.
And then after that, we've had a lot of people fill in, like Corey from Oh the Anthem.
Corey,
Yeah, that was
great.
one.
Yeah, and then we had Eric fill in from first of all, we had Corey and, of course, Ryan Blake.
Together, yep.
From Backwards K, back
Yep.
together. Good stuff. Just bringing all kinds of different Baltimore podcasts together, which is just an interesting mix.
It had a little Birdland Radio vibe.
Very, very much so. And then we had, of course, Eric in studio.
From Barstool.
Barstool Sports, E-Rock.
Saw him this weekend.
Eric's great.
Yeah, we played softball with him over there at Frederick Keys, and we whooped his team.
Hold on, you guys played the Frederick Keys game, the media celebrity
little softball game.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
I'll have to ask about that later.
Pretty sure I caught one of Eric's fly balls.
We can get back to that a little bit later. But we also want to give huge thanks to Glenn Clark, who filled in, who I was saying before the show started that I don't think I could ever do a show with him because we would probably end up screaming at each other and fighting for mic time. He talks too much, and I disagree with everything he says.
I love Glenn Clark, and I think you have done an episode with Glenn Clark.
He called in one time.
We interviewed him, yeah.
Haven't we had him in studio before?
That was the
No.
first time, yeah.
No.
Really?
Uh-huh.
After a Maryland game, he called in. We talked to Terps basketball for a while.
I thought we had him at the old house.
Nope.
Old studio.
Nope. I've never met him in person.
Yeah, it was a phone
All
call.
right.
I've called into his show before once when we were doing the Obscure Orioles night.
That's what you are. You call into other radio shows.
I've done it a total of 2 times. Once to Glenn Clark. And once a Jeremy Kahn after we had him on episode 6.
Oh, yeah.
They're going way back, 336ers. Episode 6.
Throwback. That was a great episode.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah, check
Except
the archives.
he hogged up all my story time. By the time we finished the Jeremy Kahn interview, I had Bert's story time and I had to nail it into like 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And I like a good...
He's a talker, too. He's a talker.
I like a good 13-minute Bert story time.
Yeah, I know you do.
Those radio guys are pros, man. They do.
Yeah.
They like to talk.
You just throw out any kind of question. How are you doing today? Boom, they're gone for 10
gone.
minutes.
Yep.
So did I cover everybody? We appreciate the intern stepping up, and also
I brought him to the table one week.
Nice.
I let him sit in Bert's seat with Glenn and I.
Sweet.
He didn't contribute much, and we can say that because he's not going to listen to this.
And we my father, Bert's father-in-law, stepped up and was on a show as well.
I did one show with a bunch of people where we had a bunch of people who I don't even have their names on now who shared their story of becoming Oriole fans. Because I asked Bert, what was your story about being an Oriole fan? And his was boring. His was just like, oh, it's boring. I grew up an Oriole fan.
Yeah.
I was told to be an Oriole fan. I'm an Oriole fan.
Yep.
So instead I talked to people that had much cooler stories about growing up outside of Baltimore. And
Yeah. Well, we appreciate everyone who stepped up and helped us to contribute to excellent content even while we were gone. But Bert and I are back, and we are here to stay.
you're back, and
For a
Crush
while.
Davis is back.
Yeah, absolutely. He hit a dong, but we'll see what happens next time up. I
Yeah,
got
we'll
my money
see.
on a strikeout.
He needs to heat up because it's his bobblehead night this Saturday.
I know.
Night.
There's nothing right. You don't want to go 4 strikeouts on Crush Davis and Sampson bobblehead night.
You know that's going to happen.
No, he's been really good with the walks,
Yeah, I'll take it.
and I'll take a dong.
So we're back. We're rejuvenated. Bert had a relaxing experience in Florida.
My home away from home.
Every time I talked to Bert, he was in line for something.
Yes, I love Walt Disney World, and I'm not ashamed to say it.
How does this rank with your other year's experiences? Don't they all just run together, or was this any different than every other year?
It just gets better every year. My children get older, and they appreciate it more. The youngest one, baby Albie, who's 2 now, he is a riot. He's not afraid of any of the characters, any of the rides. Just he gets so excited for everything that we do. So I get a lot of enjoyment out of it. But I also get a lot of enjoyment when I pawn the kids off on a babysitter, and then me and my wife can also go and just enjoy it as adults.
Enjoy Margaritaville.
I tried to support you and defend you last week.
Yeah. I
When
heard Glenn.
Glenn was saying it's a little strange for a grown man to be excited. And I just said, oh, well, you like it because you're kids. When really I know if you didn't have kids, you'd still be down there.
I would still go, absolutely. But more importantly, you were in Tanzania, Africa.
Yeah.
How much better was that? Going back, 4 years later?
A little different than a corner of Epcot.
Yeah, I mean, I go to Epcot every year, but 4 years away from Africa? Was it 4 years?
It was 6. It was
6,
years.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was a great experience. It was.
I know you like this. This song pretty much just recaps your trip.
I prefer the Toto one.
I know. I just don't have the Toto one in because Matt didn't know what Toto was.
Yeah, Josh, I just sent you a link on Facebook Messenger. If you could play that. A couple problems with the show before I talk about my
Problems with the show.
Yeah, a couple problems with the show. First of all, that song is a problem. If you want to get some good Tanzanian East African
All right.
music,
This is some video of some lady throwing clothes over the wall.
this is gospel. Tanzanians love their gospel music. All right, so this is the music you're likely to hear on a bus ride traveling Tanzania.
That is
not
the
the Waka Waka.
That is the
was.
fastest you've ever Googled and sent me a link. Why can't you do that when I'm asking about stats on Bundy?
Oh, I got these songs saved on my computer. It's just
This has
on my
a nice Caribbean vibe to it.
Yeah, very much so. Very much the Caribbean feel. You'll hear this for 10 hours straight on the bus ride. I'm very familiar with
This song,
Yeah.
I won't even try to pronounce this song.
Well, it's in Swahili.
Ninfandish Kunyanmanza.
Yeah. So that song you like to play about Africa,
By Martha.
I didn't hear one time. And secondly, just to be clear, I was in Tanzania. Africa's made up of about 169 countries.
But Tanzania's in
about
Africa.
300 different languages. Yeah, but you don't say you're in North America right now.
If I go, all right, if
You say somewhere you're from, you don't say I'm from North America.
if I am going up to Toronto, what song am I going to play?
I don't know what song you're gonna play. Yeah,
Canada.
I love that.
You're in Africa.
And also, to be clear, I don't know what you guys are doing here here in America, but when I called in, because I listened back to when I called in, and other people called in,
The fact that
I
you're
sounded better
Yeah,
coming
then-
from Africa, 10,000 miles away, than Bert did coming from Florida.
Yeah, that was
How
impressive.
Does that work?
yeah, WhatsApp sounds way better than AT&T or whoever you have, Verizon.
We did FaceTime, didn't we? When
Oh
I
yeah, we
called in?
did FaceTime.
Yeah, I don't know. It might have been
Yeah.
my Wi-Fi. I blame it on that.
I was in the Outer Banks, which sucks.
Oh yeah, it was Josh's fault. That wasn't my fault.
No,
Were you
'cause
talking?
I talked to him in
Oh,
the
Yeah,
never
with
mind.
same
spot.
seat, same
She
spot.
heard me loud and clear.
All right, I take it back.
Yeah, no, but Africa was great. It was great. It's kind of like the ultimate vacation in the sense that it was rejuvenating. Like it was good for me physically. I lost 23 pounds because walking everywhere, and I think just not drinking beer for
Yeah.
2 months also. I think you know how that works, Bert.
I know all about that.
You didn't drink any of their homemade beer, like the battery acid.
Well, there's the Palm Bay, which is bamboo. It's fermented bamboo juice. I did not drink the bamboo juice.
Okay.
I've heard it messes up your stomach pretty good.
Ooh.
But yeah, and it was good. It was a good time for me. I read a ton of books. It was good to get away from kind of intellectually and emotionally. Good to get away from all the computers and the internet. It was nice to get away from that kind of stuff.
That is nice.
It was a lot of hanging out with people, a lot of talking. Of course, the teaching Tanzanians was great. It was just a good time, physically, spiritually, emotionally, intellectually. Like all that stuff was great for 2 months. Just kind of get away from it all, and serve for 2 months. So it was a great experience. I love that I did it. I definitely will do it again sometime here in the future.
I was trying to think about like what you missed to fill you in, and I was like, I guess I can tell you that Wade Miley is now an Oriole.
Yeah, there's
Steve Pierce is back.
Yeah, and
And we could talk about Brian Mattis starting for the Cubs.
well, and all that stuff I want to talk about, and I hope we have a few hours here because I want to get into all that stuff because I have strong opinions on every one of those things and on 10,000 other things. So I'm excited to be back. I miss baseball. I did. I missed baseball a lot.
It was nice to be back to the yard
It was-
yesterday.
It was fun reading the box scores, but I didn't miss this heat. I'll tell you what.
Shoot, yeah.
Go to Africa or go to Tanzania and you come back here and it's hot. I don't know how this is supposed to work, but I want to go back to Tanzania for the cooler weather.
Right.
Send me back to Africa for the cooler weather because Baltimore's too darn hot.
Did you see a lot of soccer down there? Play some soccer?
I played soccer. yeah.
Football, as they would call it?
I played soccer and volleyball. Those are
Okay.
kind of the sports.
What was the temperature there?
It was in the 50s and 60s.
Really? During
Yeah.
the day?
That sounds wonderful.
At night, it got into like the low 50s, 40s a couple times.
Wow.
And during the day, we'd get up into the upper 60s. Yeah.
So do you have like wear hoodies and stuff?
Oh, I wore my Orioles hoodie. I only brought one hoodie.
Uh-huh.
My Orioles hoodie.
You
I
wore
wore every
every
single
day.
day. And I brought a sleeping bag, and I also brought like normal sheets, but I slept in my sleeping bag every night. 'cause
Wow.
It was cold. But because it was up in the hills, and the seasons are opposite, so this is winter in Tanzania.
Okay.
And it was up in the hills, the high elevations. It was chilly.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, but great, and it's great to be. But it's great to be back home. It's great to. On the way home from the airport, we stopped at that what's that burger place? Got a nice hamburger.
Five Guys?
Not Five Guys. Love Five Guys. Not Five Guys.
Mothers, where you can now go get your Trumbo shirts.
No, it's near BWI on the way back. The little. It's not a fast.
Oh, you
food.
went to Steak and Shake.
Steak and Shake. Yeah, I got a nice burger from Steak and Shake. It was nice, and then got home, ate some good, also just great food. I've been eating a lot of cheese lately as well. Of course, drinking a lot of beverages, specifically of the adult nature. So yeah, I'm
Trying to get that 23 pounds back.
it's not going to take long for me to get that 23 pounds back.
Oh, speaking of Steak and Shake, Josh, that's like your favorite place,
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
one of my favorite
I went to
places.
Steak and Shake for the first time while we were down
It's
in
awesome.
Florida. Yeah.
You got to know what to get, but it's awesome.
I mean, I was happy with what I got. What did I know I was supposed
Oh,
to
you just get a burger and fries. That's all you need.
Yeah.
The-
Burger and fries.
The
And a milkshake.
the Frisco melt is the best thing on the menu,
get? Okay.
and then you get the fries, and I love it because it's like 3 hours from here on the way to the Outer Banks, so I always hit it around midnight,
Okay.
and midnight is the perfect time for a burger,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
or like 3 a.m. on the way back.
Yeah.
Any of that type where nothing else is open, it's the perfect time for a really greasy food.
We drove home from Florida this past Saturday night. We hit the road at 1 a.m. and I got about 3 hours down the road and I was getting hungry. Actually, no, it was probably less than that. It was like 2 a.m. 1 hour down the road, I guess it would have been. I was starving. Crystal. I had to get my Crystal
Yeah,
Chicks.
Crystal
keep on
Crystal
driving.
fits in on that.
Crystal
No way.
Chicks.
Matt had a bad experience at Crystal.
I've only had one experience at Crystal, and it was a bad one.
Really? Oh, I
Involving
lived there
cockroaches.
when I was in college, man.
Yeah, well, if you had cockroaches on your tray,
I-
I bet you would think that.
I prefer White Castle over Crystal, but a sack of the little Chicken Littles is
Yeah.
never bad.
Crystal Chicks.
That's what it is.
Okay, we're not. You guys aren't 21 anymore, all right?
I know. It
Take
was
it
so
easy.
good.
Doesn't
I ate a whole
matter.
bag of them.
When I go through
At
the
2 a.m.
when I go through the drive-through in the middle of the night going to the Outer Banks, I always get 2 Frisco melts, and then I feel so sick when I get to the Outer Banks.
Hey, you guys mentioned playing in the Frederick Keys
Yeah.
softball game. Tell me about that, because last year me and Matt played in it.
Yeah.
We were on opposite teams. My team won. I believe I scored the winning run.
Yeah.
But I didn't have. Neither one of us really had a successful day. You only had one at bat, I remember.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
It was blistering hot. What happened this
it was
past Saturday?
even hotter this
It was
past Saturday.
so hot. It was
kidding.
so
It was
hot.
hotter. And I got a little sentimental at the beginning because we lined up to sing the national anthem, and I remember
Matt starts giggling.
my highlight of experience last year was the national anthem. They asked you to take off your hats. You got that huge orange cowboy hat, that goofy foam cowboy hat
Yes.
that you take off and put over your chest. And I just thought about that, and it made me laugh.
I was being respectful.
Absolutely.
Gentlemen, take off your hats. Well, I'm not going to leave this giant foam cowboy hat on.
Absolutely. But it was a low-scoring competitive game.
Yeah.
It was
I got an RBI.
Did you?
Yeah,
Congratulations.
we both made a couple plays in the outfield.
I had a nice little sliding, diving catch. I hit a line drive to the outfield that resulted in a double play. Yeah, because the bases are 90 feet.
Yeah, they're far.
And you're playing with radio DJs and radio engineers that don't know what they're doing.
Was it a bunch of weather girls? Last year was a
couple of them.
traffic girls,
Yeah,
weather girls.
yeah.
It
And
is
then
some
engineers.
older radio guys and older engineers.
Okay.
And then the young like girls.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's that combination,
Which-
is a funny
Right.
combo.
We had a good time. It's fun and all, but it really makes me think, if one of these minor league teams really wants to have some fun, they need to forget old media, focus on internet media, and go to all these bloggers and podcasters in there to have a lot of fun, play a game, and then do a little meetup before the game starts.
Remember last year, I recalled the weather girls because we made it to like the very end of the game. Nobody got hurt until one of the tiniest girls in one of the team got plowed over by this big old guy trying to beat out a throw or something, and she got knocked down and scraped her knees all up and stuff.
We had some girl who was hurt like the very first inning.
Oh, remember
And then
that
walking
one
around
girl
with an ice
last year
pack.
who was like brutal, like cursing at our team? Like she's like, I played Division 1A softball in college. We're gonna win this game if my life depends on it.
I don't remember that. But
She was on my team.
Yeah, that sounds pretty intense.
You guys were on the same team.
Yeah,
this
we
year?
were on the same team.
And we won. It was fun. We beat E-Rock's team.
That's
Eric
good.
Barstool. So it was fun though. It was hot, but it was a lot of fun. It's fun playing on those professional fields.
Yeah.
To slide on the grass and not be nicked up. To play infield without a cup because you don't have to worry about the ball bouncing crazy like you're doing.
Because you're playing
the
when
shitty
you
softball leagues we play in.
when you play outfield, you're a step in off the dirt.
Yeah.
And did they have like the guy out there with a microphone and showing the video on the jumbotron and all that
doing
again?
interviews in between.
Cool.
Everything. So it was.
That's fun. I'm
the
glad.
Frederick Keys do a really good job with that. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm glad you
Yeah.
guys got invited
Yeah,
back.
it's a great time.
Yeah. All right, can we talk about some Orioles baseball? I've been itching, man. I've been waiting 2 months to have this
Scratch that itch, baby.
I don't even know where we want to start. Do we want to start with Wade
Well,
Miley? Do we want to start with Steve Pierce?
Well, this is the first
Where do you
time.
wanna start?
I was telling Bert before the show started, this is our first time this year recording an episode of Section 336 since the season started that the Orioles are not in first place.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Matt.
Well, I told you when I left, when you guys asked me for predictions before
I remember.
left.
Yeah.
And I said it's going to be a 3-team race. It's going to be Toronto, Boston, the Orioles, and we're all going to be within a couple games of each other. And lo and behold, I mean, sometimes baseball is really freaking predictable. You can leave for a month, and no, essentially, it's going to be who the teams will be, and it's going to come down to September. It's going to come down to the last couple weeks of the season. It's going to be Toronto, and it's going to be the Red Sox.
Yeah.
It's going to be the Orioles.
It might
is.
it might be another one of those seasons like a few years ago where it comes down to the final day.
It could be. It's certainly going to come down to the final couple weeks, and everyone can freak out every night about each game, and which is cool. Like, it's being a fan.
That's like we do. Yeah.
But you can close your eyes and wake up 3 weeks from now, and it's going to be pretty much the same as it is right now. So just strap in for a battle game in and game out. So, yeah, we're in second place, but I'm still optimistic about this team. It seems like we're
Yeah, the Blue Jays won again today. So as we
Yeah.
record, we're 1.5 back.
Yeah.
Tied with Boston.
Yeah, that's fine. I saw the Donaldson for Toronto getting into it with the manager Gibbons for.
Did you see his post game?
Yeah, about they were
Yeah.
just sniffing cologne.
Yeah,
or
we
something.
weren't right. Yeah, he said they were just sniffing cologne.
Yeah, when they were clearly had a little bit of dust up. So it's good to see a little drama brewing over there.
Sure.
That's always entertaining. But let's touch on the Wade Miley deal. Let's start there.
Old news. We discussed this already.
It's new for him.
It's new for me.
All right.
And again,
Ariel Miranda.
I said before I left, I said what the Orioles need to do is get a fifth starter. And then even when I called in Africa, I said, what are the Orioles doing? You just need to get a fifth starter. Just any scenario that Vance Worley does not have to start every fifth day. And what they do, Dan Duquette made an excellent shrewd move to get Wade Miley. I think it's absolutely brilliant, exactly what the team needed.
Didn't give anything up.
He gave nothing up.
Got a fifth lefty.
Yeah, and then you address with Steve Pearce. Not only is he a fan favorite, but you address a problem you had in your lineup against left-handed pitchers. You didn't have good right-handed outfielders. No offense, Nolan Reimold, but against righties you had, of course, Pedro Alvarez, and you also had Hyun-Soo Kim.
But there was a negative about Steve Pearce.
But against righties, you didn't have anyone. I mean, against lefties, you didn't have those same bats. What's the negative against Steve Pearce?
You had to give up Jonah Heim.
Oh yeah,
from
that
the
was
show.
a bummer. That was a bummer. We love Jonah Heim. We wish him the best.
It was great to talk. I talked to Jonah's dad the day after the trade. Oh, he came on the podcast. I talked to him like 5 minutes after the trade.
Oh wow!
And then he came on the podcast the next day, so it was nice to talk to him.
Yeah, was he okay with the trade? What was his thoughts?
He was a little more upset than Jonah.
Yeah.
About it. But I mean, you're a single A ball player and you're being traded straight up for major league talent.
Yeah.
That's got to make you feel pretty good.
Yeah. For a professional hitter in Steve Pearce.
That's what that's your value.
Yeah.
So it's positive.
I don't know what the depth charts are in Tampa Bay, but here playing for the Orioles, I mean, Chance Cisco is our catcher of the future. So maybe this is a better opportunity for Jonah Heim because, I mean, Chance Cisco is our guy.
Right.
So, who knows?
Right.
That
No,
might be good
that's
for
the
him.
hope.
Obviously, we wish him all the best.
It also shows you what sucks about the minor leagues, as Jonah was told, you're traded, drive down to Port Charlotte. And he had to drive down to Port Charlotte, Florida the next day.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
Just pack up his stuff and drive.
Yeah, you have, as a minor
There's
league player,
no way Steve Pearce had to say drive north.
Yeah, you have very little rights as a minor league player still under team control for a long time.
Yeah.
You have very little rights.
Little money.
Little money, little rights, little forms of transportation. So that's that. Okay, so fine. I talked about Steve Pearce and Wade Miley. See, that wasn't so bad, Josh.
All right, great.
We can move on now.
All right, well, let's...
Sounds like you're happy with both of them.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's Dan Duquette
I think
at his finest.
they're typical Duquette moves.
They're
I
great
think is what we
moves.
said at the time.
Yeah.
I do want to tell you guys that the Trumbo shirts that we're selling on section336.com now, we're selling them for $12 since Trumbo's in a slump. We're doing a little slump sale, and they're for $12 up there, which you can't beat. But you can also go to any Mother's location now and buy a Trumbo shirt.
Any location.
And-
Severna Park? Or what is this?
It's considered Arnold.
Okay.
Only because they're Oriole fans. If
Fed
they were
Hill?
in Severna Park, they'd be Red Sox fans.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, Fed Hill. Arnold.
There's a new one,
Peninsula
too,
Grill,
isn't there?
and even the new one, which I think is in Towson, Timonium area.
Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, any of those Mother locations, you can go get a Trumbo shirt.
The intern would know if he was here.
Yeah, no, that's news. Intern no longer available at Mother's.
Oh, really? He doesn't work there anymore.
No, he now works on some election campaign full time.
Van Hollen or something?
I don't know. He's full-time elections. I asked him what he does. He says he calls people and asks people to volunteer their time at the election.
Josh is going to be silly when one day the intern wakes up and is like running for governor of Maryland and Josh is still cracking on him.
I don't understand anybody that gets into politics. Especially, how old is he, 21? Like, who cares?
He wants to change the world, Bert.
I want-
Give him a break.
I'm jaded then. I'm 36 and I voted once in my life.
I know.
Anything.
But-
Get out, Bert.
But
Get out of
we're,
here.
we're finally old enough that we can run for president.
La-di-da.
So Gary Johnson's on this time. In 4 years, I might be the independent.
I would vote for you, Josh, over
I might get as many votes as Gary Johnson. Or that woman that's running.
All right.
Hillary Clinton?
No, like the Green Party. Isn't the Green Party a woman?
I don't know who the Green Party candidate is.
I
think-
don't know.
Yeah, not Hillary.
All right.
You want to talk Orioles?
Yeah. What's next? What's next here?
Well, we got Dylan Bundy starting tonight.
Okay.
And I know you
He's very opinionated about this.
you had lots of opinions in Africa because when you went to Africa, Dylan Bundy was not a starter.
Yeah.
Dylan Bundy was still being babied and protected in the bullpen. And I don't think you expected Dylan Bundy to be one of our best starters when you came out.
Oh, absolutely not. I got lots to say about Dylan Bundy. All right, I'll start with this. More than any other, like Trumbo had a good first half of the year, but we kind of saw it coming. Like people predicted him coming to Camden Yards. He's a power hitter. He could have a good year. Zach Britton has been great. But again, Zach Britton was really good last year. This year he's exceptional, but he was really good last year. And Chris Tillman, he's been good before, and he's good this year. But Dylan Bundy is the one that absolutely, I am shocked. I am floored. I literally cannot believe that Dylan Bundy is a good pitcher. I can't believe it. And the reason is, and everyone acts like this is normal that Dylan Bundy's good, but the beginning of the season, everybody at the beginning of the season was like, he's gonna be our Rule 5 guy. Remember this conversation?
Sure.
He's like our TJ McFarland. He's
I
like
believe-
our Jason Garcia.
I believe it was maybe he'd start 1 or 2 in September.
Yeah. Like everyone thought like he's garbage time.
Sure.
And I even said, and I honestly thought this, that they would do something because he had to be on the Major League roster this year. They couldn't send him to AAA or AA, which is where everyone thought he should be. So I was even like, guys, he's going to go to extended spring training. He'll come up in June. He'll pitch for a couple weeks, and then he'll do some rehab starts probably, and then he'll be here in July to pitch a couple games out of the bullpen. But I honestly thought he would be here for maybe a third of the actual baseball season, and they would do other stuff with him, as sometimes they hide people. Has anyone seen Jimmy Paredes recently? So I thought they would hide him. But not only did they hide him, he's actually pitched well. And this is shocking because in my brain and in my heart, like I refused to believe that Dylan Bundy was going to be any good this year. Mm-hmm. Like I told myself that even if he has an ERA of 20 and he doesn't get hurt, it's a win. Like this year is just about Dylan Bundy not getting hurt. Because I couldn't even let my mind think that he could actually be good because for the past, since 2012, right, for the past 4 years, I guess 3 seasons in a row, he's been hurt and he's gotten my hopes up and then kind of crushed them.
Yeah.
So I said, this year, Dylan Bundy, you're not going to get my hopes up, but you're not going to crush in Dylan Bundy. I have zero expectations for you, Dylan Bundy. If your arm does not fall off, it's a successful season. Like, stand ovation for Dylan Bundy for his arm not falling off. Like, that was my expectations. And I think that was most of Birdland's expectations. Because most of Birdland, if you remember at the beginning of the season, you were like, you had no expectations for Dylan Bundy because you have been disappointed by him for so many years.
Right.
So many times. So the fact that he's actually good this year, like, it blows my mind. I think it's by far the biggest story, not only of this year, but that the Orioles have had, like, this is bigger than Nelson Cruz's breakout year. This is like the biggest news since Manny Machado came to the Orioles and had a breakout year.
And prior to this year, we hadn't seen him since a couple spot starts or spot relief appearances in September of 2012.
2012, yeah.
Yeah. 4 years ago.
So it blows my mind that he's good. It really does. I'm shocked. I'm floored. I love every second of it.
Good.
That he's good.
So what's the problem?
Well, that's the one side of it, all right?
Okay.
The other side of it is how they're using Dylan Bundy.
How they're using our best move at the trade deadline.
Sometimes I sit back and I hear Buck Showalter and I hear what he says and I hear what other players say and I think I'm missing something. I remember when Manny Machado was hurt and he decided to have surgery, and Buck Showalter and Manny Machado weren't on the same page clearly. Mm-hmm. And I noticed that, and no one else seemed to notice it. And I was pointing it out, but no one else was saying, hey, they're not on the same page here. I feel like that's the same thing with this Dylan Bundy thing, that there's an issue here that no one is talking about. So on June, I got some quotes here, and I just look at quotes, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not a reporter. I just look at quotes. So on June 22nd, right, in June, this is before I left for Africa. This is at the end of June.
All right.
He says this regarding Dylan Bundy. He said, and this is Buck Showalter talking in June before Dylan Bundy became a starter. Buck Showalter said, with Dylan, I'm not going to start pitching him back-to-back. This is when he's coming out of the bullpen, not pitching him back-to-back games.
Okay.
keep our priorities in mind with him. Not going to put him in harm's way. So you want to pitch him in back-to-back games because he doesn't want to be in harm's way. Fine.
Right.
And then Buck Showalter said this. Can't get our heart ahead of our brain with Dylan Bundy. Can't think of anything worse than him not getting through the year physically healthy. We are not going to take that chance. This is what he's talking about Dylan Bundy on June 22nd. He also says this. We are hopefully going to get 60 to 75 innings out of him this season. This is in June. He says 60 to 75 innings. What's Dylan Bundy's inning count right now?
It's at 50 something, right?
Can someone look it up?
I'll look it up.
I think it's at 60 already.
Where's the intern?
But Buck Showalter said we were hoping going to get 60 to 75 innings out of him this season and be ready to go next year. So in June, he's talking about next year. The big thing, this is Buck Showalter, I'm quoting him, the big thing we have to decide is if and when about adding his slider, cutter back. That may be next spring. He's handled it well. Dylan's been a part of the solution. He's getting better. I've got a sneaking suspicion that next spring you're going to like what you see. So again, in June, Buck Showalter's talking about in next spring you're going to like what you see. And I'm gonna end, and this is the end of Buck Showalter's quote about Dylan Bundy. He says this: if we get through this year on the current plan. So Buck Showalter said in June that if we get through this year on the current plan, which is what? 60 to 75 innings, we're going to like him a lot next spring, as in next year, as in 2017.
As of right now, he has pitched 70.2 innings.
Oh, he's pitched 70.
73.2 if you count the 3 he's already thrown tonight.
Right.
This might have those 3 in
No,
it.
it doesn't. I got it.
Okay.
And the plan
Do you
was
know how many he pitched in the majors before this year?
like total?
Yeah.
Oh, probably like 3.
1.2.
Okay. Oh yeah, just the one appearance.
Yep.
And so Dylan Bundy in June, the same time, Dylan Bundy said this. I'm just reading quotes, guys. Dylan Bundy said, "I haven't heard about pushing past 80 or anything like that. The innings limit.
Right.
Haven't really been addressed about it lately. I'm sure come mid to late August, we'll talk about it again. But right now, I'm happy with going 75 to 80 innings." So Buck Showalter said 60, 75. Dylan Bundy says 75 to 80. A little bit different, but whatever. It's close enough, right?
Uh-huh.
We're talking about...
And they'll review it
Yeah.
mid to late August, which is what we're in right now.
And so Bundy's last quote, and this is Bundy again, "I don't really know yet. Maybe when we get further along in the innings to 65 or so, you can ask that again. But right now, I really don't know."
Well, because now we're in the push for the postseason. We need the only reason he's a starter is because we desperately needed a starter.
Well, okay. But
And he's stepped up to the plate. He's been good.
Yeah, and then he's been great.
If he was terrible and his spot starts
So-
when we needed him, then he wouldn't be
Right.
where he is right now, still starting against the Red
So
Sox
guess what
in
the
a
most
game like this.
right? So what's the most important thing right now? This year,
well, okay.
the World Series.
Okay, but stay with me, guys. Buck Showalter said all those things in June about the plan was, and Dan Duquette made similar comments, 60 to 75 innings.
Right.
That was June 22nd. July 22nd, exactly 1 month later, after Dylan Bundy made a couple really good starts. This is the end of July. Buck Showalter had this to say. Just 1 month later, where he said the plan is 60, 75 innings.
Uh-oh.
Buck Showalter said this: "I've yet to have anybody show this magical grid that shows you the cause and effect.
That's
it just
true.
doesn't exist. Believe me, I've exhaustively looked. You know how we are about health of our guys. It's unknown." All right.
That's true. I mean, there's different opinions on how to handle it.
But then why did he even say the 60 to 70 number a
If
month
that's
earlier?
true, if that second quote's true, then fine, Josh. If that second quote of Buck Showalter is true, then they should never shut Dylan Bundy down the entire season. He should pitch every 5th day. He should throw 100
I think that's the
pitches
plan
every
now.
Start.
Well, no,
Right.
he hasn't thrown 100 pitches yet, but each start they've let him throw more pitches.
Right.
They're
But-
warming him up.
Fine.
Even when the Orioles scored like 10 runs in 2 innings, they let him pitch another 3 innings when they didn't need him because they're getting his arm warmed up. They're getting that pitch count up. They're doing a different approach than they initially planned.
Oh, I don't. Okay, and you might think that that's what they're doing. I think they have no freaking clue what they're doing. And
They
if
do know what they're
ever-
doing. They're playing for this year.
Okay, but if they ever shut him down, or if they ever start to decrease his innings, unless his arm is hurting, they have no reason to ever decrease his innings.
No,
or
they're
his-
not gonna.
Or his pitch limit, because they said here that no one knows anything and we don't know anything. So as long as he's not hurting, he'll continue to pitch.
Right.
So he should pitch into the end of October unless his arm hurts.
Right. And that's what they'll do.
Okay. We will see. We'll see.
I mean, right
We'll
now,
see.
you go to the postseason. Who you're putting out there? You're putting Tillman. You're putting Bundy, and who am I missing? Gaussman. You're Gauss. If anything, the way Bundy's been pitching, if anything, it makes Gaussman look stupid, because Gaussman has not been able to make that step in multiple years in the majors, and here is Bundy in his first year coming off Tommy John, being an amazing pitcher.
Okay. And the bigger issue I have about this whole thing, and whatever, you're right, there's no clear evidence on how to handle these pitchers. I could cite the example of Matt Harvey when 2 years ago, the Mets pushed him and he pitched all the way to October.
And I could come back.
And he's hurt. He got hurt this year and he's out for the season.
And I could come back with Hunter Harvey and the Orioles baby and Hunter Harvey, and he still gets his arm hurt.
Right. So what I'm saying is
Strasburg
we
a few years ago, the Nationals shut Strasburg down in the postseason. They immediately got their butts kicked.
Yeah.
They could have won the World Series that year. Instead, it continues this curse of the Nats being knocked out in the first round of the playoffs.
And Strasburg could have got his arm hurt this year because they pushed him too far. And
I
agree.
You don't know.
We don't know.
So you got to play with what you got.
No, but here. But what the Orioles knew in April, or what Buck Showalter knew in June 22nd, is the same information he knew on July 22nd. So my issue is not with...
No, but but information changed. The information that changed is that our rotation crapped the bed.
No, but that's not what Buck Showalter said. Buck Showalter said, I'm going to think with my head, not my heart.
Yes.
Which means we're going to do what's best for Dylan Bundy's health. And he changed his mind, not because Dylan Bundy...
He changed his mind because he was thinking with his head. And he was thinking what's best for the team.
You don't have a plan for a pitcher. And then all of a sudden, the standings change. And all of a sudden, you throw out your plan you had for the pitcher in the middle of the season just because...
Let me send you this book called The Arm. I just finished reading it by Jeff Passan.
And Josh, you can defend how the Orioles groom pitching arms all you want.
I'll say Scott Boras would freak out if he was Dylan Bundy's agent.
Josh, I'm just saying you can defend the Orioles' development of arms. I'm just saying
I'm not defending their development of arms.
That shows the Orioles have no flipping clue how to develop arms and what they're doing.
I agree with that. I agree with that. But you know who else has no flipping clue? Anyone about rehabbing Tommy John. Yeah. Nobody knows. It's guesses.
I agree, but I'm more
even
concerned.
Tommy John surgery is not that old.
Josh, everyone agrees with you. I'm more concerned.
Calm down.
I'm more concerned with the inconsistencies of Buck Showalter, and what I'm more concerned with, even more than that, is Steve Molesky. And I'm picking on Steve Molesky here, but I could use Rakabako. I could use Rich Dubroff.
Good. I'm going to pick on Dan Connolly later.
I could use Dan Connolly. I could use Jake Lakampaka. I could use anybody. But I'll say
Jake
this.
Lakampaka is my favorite.
But Steve Molesky on June 29th. So this is before Dylan Bundy, right before Dylan Bundy starting games.
Right when you left for Africa.
Steve Molesky doesn't know that Dylan Bundy is starting games yet.
The reporters have no clue what's going on. They still don't know.
Read it.
Here's what Steve Molesky said. It is one of the most asked questions from fans this year. Will Dylan Bundy enter the starting rotation this season? And Steve Molesky writes, that was not very likely going into the season since he's on about a 75 inning limit for the season. Bundy had Tommy John surgery in 2013 and shoulder issues last year. He did not pitch at all in 2013, pitched 41 and a third innings in 2014, and threw 22 innings last year in the minor leagues for AA. There is no way the Orioles can pack too many innings on him this year with a total of just 63 and a third innings over his previous 3 seasons. So, whatever. Steve Molesky said there's no way you can put a lot of innings on him, seeing how the last 3 years he's only pitched 63 and a third innings. Which is a fine take. It's a fine, and I agree with him, and it's a good take. It's reasonable and everything like that. But what my issue is, the Orioles have changed course. He's going to blow up that 63 and a third. He's going to throw however many he throws this year. And you know what else Steve Molesky has written about Dylan Bundy in regards to the innings pitched since that entry in June 29th?
He changed his mind too?
Nothing.
He's written not a single line.
No.
Interesting.
Everyone keeps asking Rock and Steve and Brit, and none of them know anything.
Here's like, and I've been out of the country for 2 months, so maybe I've missed this. But someone has to sit down with Buck and said, "Hey, Buck, you said, I have the quote here. You said that Dylan Bundy was only going to throw 75 innings. He's already passed the 75 innings limit. What caused you to change your mind? And what is the new innings limit?"
That sounds like the kind of hard-hitting question our boy Jerry Coleman needs to ask.
Coleman's the only guy who would possibly ask that question,
What?
and that's part of the problem. Actually, I could
come
see
on.
Stan Charles asking it also. Those are the two guys who are loud in the press room that can ask those questions.
No one's even like, but even like if you don't ask Buck Showalter, like, because
Who's-
Steve Molesky doesn't, I don't know if he ever interviews anybody, but he just like
Who's-
writes his opinion on his blog.
Who's
But
Steve?
he won't even talk about it.
Who's Steve Molesky employed by?
Well, I don't see, what does that do?
Masson?
But what does that do with anything?
Because the Orioles own their reporters.
Okay, but Josh, what is Buck? Will Buck refuse the answer? Is Buck going to start firing?
They're not going to ask the hard questions. They don't ask the questions that
Well,
make Buck look stupid.
What about Peter Schmuck from the Baltimore Sun? What about Rich Duroff from CSN?
He's checked out.
I mean, it's a very simple question.
What
and
a-
everyone's just ignoring it and saying, "Oh, pitch."
What has happened to previous reporters that press people who have questioned the way Peter Angelos or the Orioles do things? They're gone. They lose their credentials. So
Okay,
yes,
okay,
there's a
so-
little bit of that.
So Josh is going Nestor on me.
I'm
Fine.
not going.
Nestor on me.
I'm not.
Fine.
Did
I'm
the
not going-
Oriole bird squirt you with a water gun too?
I'm not going full Nestor. I'm just saying, they're not asked. They don't ask the hard questions.
No, I don't think that. I think they're incompetent. I don't think it's because they're afraid to. I just think they don't understand. Like this is a big story that they've totally changed the plan on their former number one prospect, the former stud pitcher, midway through the season. They've totally changed their plan and maybe put Dylan Bundy's entire career in danger, and no one's even going to ask a simple question about it?
Is it just because he's been good?
Right. Like, I get it. He's been good, and they need him. But, like, still, ask the question.
Yeah.
Just ask the question. Like, why did you change your plan? And what is the new plan? There's no plan. Because it sounds to me like there's no plan. As long as the arm doesn't hurt, he's still pitching.
The plan's to win the World Series.
As long as he's still good.
Okay. But, Josh,
And right
I'm
now,
telling
you need Dylan Bundy to do that.
when they stop pitching him in September, October,
They're not gonna.
okay, we'll see.
They can't.
Oh, if he's still pitching good and they just stop him right before the playoffs, people are going to lose their minds.
Yeah, they won't do that.
I believe they will because they have no idea what they're doing. I'm convinced of it.
No, but if they have no idea, it would just it wouldn't make sense. The plan is obviously the plan now is to win it all, and because there's no guarantee that on August 17th next year we'll be 1.5 games out and holding on to the wild card spot.
The Orioles would not be that nearsighted to risk his career over just this season.
Yeah, they might be.
I don't.
You've got to strike while the iron's hot. You have to try to win when you have the opportunity.
I don't. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Buck Showalter is too smart for that. It just doesn't add up to me where he had a plan and all of a sudden he threw the plan out the window.
Buck
It doesn't add up to me. I'm missing something.
has come to Baltimore, and he's gonna make these Orioles good like they used to be before.
Thought I'd give you a little break, but you calm down.
What's next?
You gonna yell about
I'm
Zach
cool.
Britton?
No, I'm cool with Dylan Bundy. I want to talk about Zach Britton too, though.
Yeah, is he a Cy Young contender? It's a hot topic right now.
Yeah.
It's what everyone's writing. Don't you feel like
National media is talking about it.
which means he's set to implode. That's the scary part.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Well, what Zach Britton's doing this year,
It's impressive.
it's not just impressive. It's like historic.
Yeah.
The last home run he gave up to you. By the way, a little tidbit for our Section 36ers. Do you know he gave up one home run this season? Do you know hit the only home run off him? And this is back in April.
Nick Markakis.
It's appropriate for who we're playing right
I don't
now.
know.
Mookie Betts.
Mookie Betts.
Oh, yeah.
Mookie Betts hit a home run off Zach Britton.
Stupid Mookie Betts.
Do you know the last run he gave up was on April 30th? And even in that one is the one, I don't know if you guys remember, but it's the one like
The little dribbler.
and he stumbled,
Yeah.
and he was pulled out of the game, and the reliever came in and gave up his run.
Yes, I remember that.
Right. I think maybe Vance Worley. I don't really remember. I think it might have been Vance Worley, but
It
whatever.
was scary because we thought we might be losing him for a bit.
Yeah. But that was the last, like, it wasn't even, he didn't even give up his own run, and that was the last time he gave a
Sure.
run. this is unbelievable. April 30th.
Yeah.
It's August, and he hasn't given another run. He's given up 3 runs the entire year. This is like his ERA. His ERA, I got the numbers right here. He's on a historic level.
He's at like 0.5, right? 0.52 or something like that?
Something like that. The record for the best ERA of all time is Fernando Rodney in 2012 with the Rays of 0.60.
Right. What he is currently doing, Mariano Rivera never had a season like this.
No. And you can make the Wade Davis comparisons a couple years ago, but even Wade Davis was ERA of 0.94. Like he will break the record for ERA. A couple other things that are interesting with Zach Britton. There's this thing that's called win probability added, which is what it sounds like. It's like
Woozle Wuzzle?
It's Woozle Wuzzle.
Okay.
But it's like how much does this player contribute to your odds of winning? So it has to do with like the importance of their appearances and the clutchness, and so how much do they? And this sounds like kind of a Cy Young or MVP type thing. Like how much do you add to your team's winning?
Right. How much is he better than everyone else? Sure.
Right. How much win does he add to your team? As far as pitchers go, 4.8. He's number 1 out of all pitchers. Number 2 is Clayton Kershaw. Clayton Kershaw's number 2. Wow. He's number 1 in win probability added. That's
who's the next
remarkable.
closest American League pitcher?
Andrew Miller.
Okay.
And then Aaron Sanchez.
Okay. Because I was doing a little research on the Cy Young Award. The last time an American League reliever won the Cy Young Award goes back to 1992. Dennis Eckersley. Year he had 51 saves, a 1.91 ERA.
Didn't someone from the NL win it more recently?
Yes, Eric Gagne.
Yeah.
Eric Gagne won it in 2003 with 55 saves and a 1.2 ERA. But what's Britton at now? 1.052?
I think he's in the
0.54,
0.5.
0.53,
I thought it was 0.54, but it could have changed.
Might be 5.4.
Now, the other thing that it benefits from is that there's no clear-cut starter right now in the American League that's a shoe-in.
Yeah.
Because usually every year there is.
Yeah, but like guys like Sanchez are on an innings limit, and there's other issues with kind of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say there's 2 things going for Zach Britton to win the Cy Young. If you're a reliever, I think you have to be historically good.
Right.
And this year, Zach Britton is historically good. Like, he is in line to be the best ever. Not like one of the best, not like really good, the best ever. And what you said, there's no clear runaway. There's no Madison Bumgarner. There's no clear runaway. Or I guess a Clayton Kershaw.
Right. The only negative is that that it's an award that's not based on stats. It's based on people voting. And there's some reporters who just have the natural thing of saying, well, he's not a starter. So that's the negative.
Right. Like some people will never vote for a reliever.
Right.
The reliever winner are few and far between. I mean, I go back to 84, Willie Hernandez with Detroit, 81, Raleigh Fingers, Milwaukee.
But you've also got to remember.
Best ever. Best ever.
Right.
And a guy where a starter like Chris Tillman impacts the game once a week. Where Zach Britton impacts the game 5 times a week, he could pitch. He impacts a lot more games, which is what leads to that higher win probability.
Isn't it wild that the guy who's won the most Cy Young awards of anybody is not in the Hall of Fame?
Who's that?
Roger Clemens. 7 Cy Young awards.
Well, it's that
steroids.
Steroids.
Yeah.
Randy Johnson is second most with 5. And
Don't
he's
worry.
in the Hall of Fame.
I think
all the best players we grew up watching, most of them are not in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's why it was nice to have a guy like Griffey go in this year.
Yeah.
Like someone that we actually pretended to be as kids.
Or A-Rod just retired. It's going to see a good guy like him retire, and he'll get into the Hall of Fame, and as soon as he's eligible.
I thought this was interesting too.
When did they open up the Hall of Steroid Users for all the guys we grew up watching?
I would go to that. That would be interesting.
Yeah, and you can learn all about steroids.
Yeah.
Remember how they tried to tell us that the ball was juiced? That all the home runs were because they wound the ball tighter those years?
They talked about the mound.
Yeah. All this crap to not admit that people were taking drugs.
The new stadiums with the stands are closer. They talked about it all. Hey, are you guys checking the comment feed?
A little bit, yeah.
All right. Because, we talked about at the beginning of the show if there's any comments worth reading.
Well, maybe that just means there were.
Well, there has been lots of comments. I wouldn't say they're all worth reading.
Nah, it's a lot of welcome you guys back.
Yes, a lot of upset frowny faces for Mookie Betts, frowny emojis. You know, Dang, that was almost a Trump bomb out
man.
there. That one just now in the bottom of the fourth.
And Josh mentioned in last week with Glenn Clark who the next foe would be, who's the next villain for us to root against.
It's starting to look like Donaldson and Mookie Betts.
Oh, I was going to say Mookie Betts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We came with Donaldson, but Mookie Betts, the year Mookie Betts is having this year
And
is
the fact that he's just
unbelievable.
destroying the Orioles.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, he could be a perfectly likable guy though. Like he's just really, really
Right.
good.
I know that's
If
the
he
scary
gives
part.
an interview where he's like a total jerk, then
It's like a Jeter type thing.
all hands on deck.
Well, I mean, Josh Donaldson isn't a jerk, but we hate him. We hate him still.
I don't know. He's good, but we
But
were
he
just
got-
talking earlier in the
he
show
got-
about him
he
mouthing
got in
off
a
at his
fight
own
with
manager.
Manny. He got argued with his manager.
Yeah, but we all know, like, the fight with Manny, I know we hate Donaldson for
but
that.
Manny was wrong.
It was all Manny's
Yeah.
Oh,
fault.
dude! If I was not an Orioles fan, Manny's a villain. Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
He's a.
And you heard him get
jerk
booed
with a
in
capital
Oakland.
J.
You heard him get booed in Oakland.
Oh yeah, totally.
He got a nice boo in Oakland.
Yeah. One more quick thing about the Cy Young. I think the Orioles have 6 awards given to Orioles pitchers over the course of the history of the award. There are 4 teams in all of baseball that still have never had a Cy Young Award winner.
Well, the Nationals.
No, Montreal, if you count them with Montreal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Pedro Martinez, right?
Forgot about the
Cincinnati has never had one. Colorado Rockies still.
Florida Marlins.
Oh, the Colorado Rockies.
Miami Marlins.
never
Oh,
have one.
sorry, they're Miami now. Right.
Colorado and Miami, the 2
Yeah,
teams from that
Colorado
expansion.
will never have one because of Coors Field.
Yeah.
Miami could have one at any given year now with Jose Fernandez.
Sure.
He's as good as anybody.
Well,
And,
no, he's one of the guys listed to go to the Yankees when Machado and Bryce Harper go.
I was surprised at this one. Texas Rangers have never had a Cy Young Award winner. All
Really?
there's Nolan
They even had
Ryan,
Nolan Ryan.
Yu Darvish.
Well, they could have one this year with Cole Hamels.
Yeah.
He's having a great year.
So
That's a good little
interesting
tidbit.
stuff. Yeah, I'd
Good
like to find
tidbit,
some interesting tidbits now and then.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Contribute something to the show besides my zaniness.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I feel better now. I got a bunch of stuff off my chest. I feel better now.
Good.
Yeah.
I feel better that you're here.
You want to do a little 3 up, 3 down?
Yeah, it's your 3 up, 3 down.
It's now time for 3 up and 3 down.
3 up, 3 down, the segment where we say 3 good things going on with the Orioles and 3 not so good things going on with the Orioles.
And this is the first time in a while we actually have 3 of us here to do it.
Look at that.
Hey.
Have you been doing this segment, Josh, even while we've been
A little
gone?
bit. I did it with Corey and Ryan. There were 3 of us, and Eric and I did it as well. And Glenn and I got off course and never went to it. It was in the show notes, just didn't get to it.
No 2 up, 2 down.
So we'll start with what? We'll start with the three good things.
Yeah, let's
Sure.
start with the good things.
All right. What you got?
You want me to go?
Yeah,
Sure.
go first.
My good is Michael Phelps, who for many years, as 336er should know, that I have not liked Michael Phelps.
He's coming around on Michael Phelps,
And
Matt.
this year, I came completely around on Michael Phelps. I have enjoyed the fact that the way he swims does not look humanly possible when he does that flip and wiggle.
Flip and wiggle. That's what he
Flip and
calls
wiggle.
it. Yeah. Under Armour has trademarked that, actually.
Yeah, that's the next 336 shirts. It's just flip and wiggle. And I liked I liked a lot of his comments about changing his life after rehab.
You like when he drops Ray Lewis's name in the in the post-swim interview?
When he
Yeah.
talks about how he dislikes the Steelers.
Well, and that's what I was getting to. Did you guys see his audio about the Steelers?
I didn't see the audio
What?
because technically you can't see audio, but
Did
I
you
heard
see the
it.
clip?
Burn notice. No, I did not see the clip.
Let me see if it.
I saw the headline.
Oh, it's on Baltimore Sun's running an ad. So I will tell you in about 50. Anyway, he's in he's about to do his press conference in Rio after winning all his awards.
This is after he laughed when they said, "Oh."
Yeah.
during
This is
the
a few
anthem.
days later.
Forgot about that
That's
part.
another cool Baltimore thing.
Totally.
Yeah, to endear us to the. Damn. Oh my
Holy
gosh.
smokes. Oh, Manny Machado almost pulling it
Manny
out.
Machado just made another great diving play. Manny Machado doing what Manny Machado does.
Does what Manny does. Should have been out, though. Come on, Manny. Get it together.
And ESPN is blocking the video.
I know
So,
Russell Street Report had it posted as well. You can check it out there.
I'll find it for you, Matt. I just got to deal with ESPN.
I'll give another one up. I spent 4 weeks in Florida. I pack for while I'm there, but my packing is limited. But I took about 5 Orioles shirts and 2 Orioles caps. So one of my favorite things now that I'm home, it's an up for me, is I get to dive back into my giant bin of Orioles gear, and I feel like I'm wearing a new shirt, even though it's one I've worn a million times because I haven't had it for the past 4 weeks. Matt, you can relate
Is that
because
a
you wore the same
Steelers?
Orioles hoodie
Every day.
every day in
for
Africa.
2 months.
Just wait until you finally get your house finished and you get to open up the pod with all that.
It'll be Christmas.
With all that.
Seriously. Don't get me started on that.
Here is Michael Phelps a few days ago, kind of his last press conference in Rio.
Is that a Steelers? Oh, man. Golly. Oh. There we go. There's some Ravens. Man, Steelers. Oof.
On that,
Football season's back.
We'll go with the Ravens guy for we'll go with the Ravens guy for a
Go ahead.
question.
So quickly showing his distaste just because some reporters are wearing like a Steeler jacket or hat or
And
something.
I hope he really did follow through on that and did not answer any Steeler reporter questions, but went for the Ravens.
He did go to the Raven reporter first.
Good.
And I like just his distaste that his like body's shaking because he's so turned off by it.
He's a Baltimorean.
Well, and to tack on top of what Josh is saying here, we have a contribution from the chat that Jacob Rock is telling us. Did you know, guys, that 9 of the 11 gold medals the U.S. have been won by Maryland athletes?
We got
Michael Phelps and
Ledecky crushing it.
Yep, those are.
Is there another one? I think there's one other
Yeah.
person from Maryland for some other sport.
Maybe shooting guns, I feel like.
It's definitely not table tennis because Americans have never won anything in table
No,
tennis.
but you know who is the best table tennis player in Major League Baseball?
J.J. Hardy.
J.J. Hardy. Except he's retired because he's worried about his shoulder. He says he'll come out to play against like Clayton Kershaw because he's apparently the best guy in the National League.
Interesting.
So my up was I don't need to talk about it again, but it was just it was the Orioles pitching specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I think the 2 biggest stories this year are Zach Britton and Dylan Bundy. I think that those are by far the 2 biggest stories of the 2016 year.
Which is
are those 2
crazy
pitchers.
considering where we were in February or even March when we were down in Sarasota saying if there's any problem this team's going to have, it's pitching.
And we still do have issues with starting pitching. But
Not since the All-Star break.
Dylan Bundy, well, it's nice when you can play at the Oakland A's
right now
and Giants.
we're losing low-scoring games because our offense has been the problem.
Yeah. But again, my high, because we're doing highs right now, is ups.
3 up.
Zach, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make any kind of high reference, but Zach Britton and Dylan Bundy are my not highs, but my ups.
Okay.
Very good.
Now let's get down to the downs.
Well, speaking of pitching, the down for me, it's got to be Darren O'Day.
Yeah.
Because we gave him a bunch of money in the offseason. He got hurt. And we're like, okay, at least we'll have him for the second half. He takes forever to come back, and then we only see him for a few days, and now he's back on the DL. And now it's back to me saying the same thing as, that's okay, we just need him in September. But the fear is we need him to come back good in September, and the way he's been not so healthy as an older guy. Thankfully, it's not the same injury, and it's a different injury. But my down is definitely the fact that he is back on the DL.
Well,
did Sandy Leone just hit the warehouse?
I think that would be a Utah Street.
All right.
Really? Did he get close?
Yeah.
I gotta watch this replay.
I think it hit the awning.
Oh my!
The green awning.
Sandy Leone. I never heard of this guy before this series, but he's crushing it.
He's
Batting
having
400.
he's having a great season for them. Yeah. Him and the Nintendo guy. Two new guys that are doing really well for the Red Sox.
There's a Nintendo guy?
Yeah, buy Nintendo or something like that.
Oh, Ben Nindetti.
Yeah. Nowhere near the warehouse.
That was
Fly
really
court.
close. I was gonna say it was really close.
It hit the pole, and then I think it hit the warehouse. Does that
on a
count?
bounce.
No, bounces don't count.
All right.
No, but Josh, are you trying to imply about Darren O'Day that he's not really hurrying to get back? Maybe he got all his money, and so he's not as motivated to get back off the club.
No,
he's just sitting back on his pile of money. It sounds like
I'm just saying
that's
it sucks.
the implication.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I'm just saying it sucks.
And it's coming at a time when Brad Brock is starting to suck all of a sudden too.
Yeah. All right, Bert. What's your down?
That'd be a good transition to your down if you were go with Brad Brock.
I should have, but instead I just want to tag on something Matt touched on earlier. As you mentioned how cold it was in Tanzania, Africa.
Yeah.
Coming back here to Baltimore where it's 100 degrees. I was down in Florida where it's typically high 90s, which it was, 96, 97 every day, 98. But it is hotter here in Baltimore than it was in freaking Orlando, Florida in mid-August. Give me a break. It's ridiculous.
Stupid.
I'm moving to Florida. It's just going to happen. It's ridiculous. I can't stand it. It's too hot. Bring on the winter.
All right, Koji.
Now,
too hot.
Now, if you look at our my down, if you look at it, we have our table setters at the top of the lineup in today it's Jones and Scope and Machado, and they're having fine seasons and they're playing decent ball. If you go down and look at the guys who are supposed to drive in the runs,
Right.
are 4, 5, 6, 7 hitters.
The big dogs.
The big dogs are Trumbo. Today the lineup is 4 is Trumbo, then Pierce, then Davis, then Wieters.
Mm-hmm.
That's my low.
Oh.
So if you look at Trumbo, the past 28 days, right, the past month, Trumbo is batting 152. He has an on-base percentage of 188 for the past not the past week.
That's definitely worse than Crush.
The past 28 days. Crush Davis, meanwhile, the past 28 days has a batting average of 151. He
But he's got the on-base higher.
But what he doesn't have is he only has 2. I guess maybe with today it's 3. But 3 home runs in 28 days.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
And then you go to Matt Wieters. So this is a heart of our lineup. Then you go to Matt Wieters, who the past 28 days is batting 227 with only 1 home run. I mean, it's not going to win games. And Steve Pierce, who has played 6 games with Baltimore, when he was playing with Tampa Bay, he was batting 309 with the Orioles. He's batting 231 and has just only one extra base hit, one double, and that's it.
I'd say he sounds a lot like Gerardo Parra when we got him when he was hot.
A slugging percentage of 308.
Get him at the trade deadline. Now he falls off.
So there's no pop, no hitting coming from our 4, 5, 6, and 7 guys. How are you supposed to win games when the heart of your lineup, the power hitters, aren't hitting for power or hitting for average?
Is there a Trumbo post home run derby curse?
Well, but it's everybody.
I don't know if Matt might have not known Trumbo was in the All-Star.
Oh, yeah, he was in the home run derby. He was okay.
He did okay.
Made it the second round.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't know how you can keep on winning ball games when your 4, 5, 6, 7 hitter are all in a very extended slump.
Yeah.
They're all crap in the bed, and they've been crap in the bed for a very extended period of time.
I mean, you got a game like last night where Matt Wieters hit a 2-run single to tie the ball game. They were coming in then, but it took them until the 7th inning just to get a hit.
And if either Trump or Davis comes through in one of those big spots, then then we win that game.
Totally.
And that's been the frustrating thing.
Even though Brad Brock gives up a 2-run homer to give the lead right back.
Yeah, and that's everyone's the takeaway is, Brad Brock is struggling. No, the real takeaway is your 4, 5, 6, 7 hitters suck right now.
Right, and they were up with men on the bases and chances
but Brad Brock is struggling.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, he's struggling. Yeah. There's a lot of people struggling right now.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Pick your guy.
I'm struggling. It's 100 degrees.
Even Dylan Bundy tonight. The Dylan Bundy, the guy who's been a stud every start, is struggling.
Yeah.
Everybody's struggling.
The Red Sox are red hot right now. They're so hot right now.
You're just a ball bag, my friend. Hey, ball bag. How you doing? What's your name again? It's ball bag. I'm posh.
You know what makes me feel better about them taking Dylan Bundy out of this game in the 5th inning? That Tyler Wilson's coming in and he's going to put the fire out.
and you can just say, well, they probably were going to pull Dylan after 5 anyway.
Yeah, but he wasn't going to give up 5 runs. Give me a break.
Well, let's get to the ball bag. I don't want this to turn into a Glenn Clark 10-hour marathon episode again.
I know.
All right, let's get to the ball bag.
You guys want to talk Ravens? I mean, we're coming up on the second preseason game, and I still don't care about Ravens. You guys want?
No, we can hold on.
I mean,
okay, it's about that time. I got some thoughts on Mike Wallace.
I'm glad. I think Mike Wallace is going to be a good addition. I'm glad Flacco is feeling okay.
I mean, I added a lot of content to the show notes, but that's okay.
I think we can do the old cut and paste for next week.
Yeah,
there you go.
Not much of this will change for next week, so we can talk about Mike Wallace, and maybe next week Terrell Suggs will actually practice a little. Maybe
he practiced today.
All right, maybe we'll get a little Steve Smith practice in.
And he may have practiced today. It was rumored that he was going to.
Maybe we can talk about the fact that Perryman is a complete bust.
Well, I'll tell you what, and we can talk about the Ravens next week. But say what you want about the Ravens. Come week 1, and come every week that the Ravens have a home game, you'll see a sellout.
You want to talk about attendance?
There you go.
Let's talk about attendance.
Josh, I put the ball on tee for you. You can hit it out of the park.
All right. I wanted to complain about attendance, but the podcast was getting long, so I was leaving it alone. Dan Connolly today wrote a article kind of blasting Oriole fans for not being at the stadium and letting Red Sox Nation take over Camden Yards. You and I were at the game last night. Yeah, there were a lot of Red Sox fans, But do people gotta realize that these Red Sox fans, they're not driving down from Boston.
Severna Park.
It's Severna Park.
Yeah, out of their mom's basements.
Yeah, like the intern.
Exactly.
I mean, it's
the
you made a comment on Twitter yesterday about that, and I'm like, you're describing the intern living in his mom's basement in Severna Park, rooting for the Red Sox.
Yeah.
Or Jason Lockefour.
But like that's so whatever. The Red Sox fans will be there even though they're not from Boston.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But what about Oriole fans not showing up?
Well, does it? I mean, I love when the ballpark is full, and I think it's awesome. But I also think that as Oriole fans and reporters and all, we need to calm down and realize that 10 years ago, we lost a good chunk of our market, and half of we went from a mid-level team to we're a small market team right now.
So you're saying there's no scenario where we can sell out games in
August? Sure. Play better.
We're in the last night we were in first place.
Is Saturday going to be a sellout?
Yeah, because it's a weekend and they're getting into the bobblehead.
Yeah, it's a weekend.
You had a weekend and bobblehead, you have a sellout.
You're complaining about a Tuesday night.
Boston's selling out a Tuesday night. Why can't we?
Do you know how many people? Fenway can hold 28,000 people.
They can hold more than that. And if it was a 45,000 place, they would sell out 45,000.
No, they wouldn't. They are not selling out this year.
Yeah, you can go to Boston and go to any game you want to.
Sure. Yeah, they're not selling out.
You're going to get a ticket for Boston.
No. You know who's selling out? Toronto. You know why Toronto's selling out? An entire country gets to cheer for Toronto.
No way.
Buffalo is a gigantic marketplace for Toronto.
Oh, Buffalo is not a gigantic marketplace.
Yeah, everything's so spread out, Josh.
If you're in Buffalo, you cheer for Toronto.
Yeah, sure. You might cheer for them, but you're not going to games.
Yeah, you are.
You have to go through customs just to go to a baseball game.
What else is there to do in Buffalo and in Toronto?
They frisk you.
You went to the game last night. It was 2,000 degrees at the stadium.
They pat you down.
I went 2 weeks ago on a Sunday, and I could only stay for 3 innings because it was so hot.
What if they patted you down before you went to the stadium? Would you still go?
I mean, that's like Raven fans seem to like being patted down. They go to that. But you got
there's only 8 home games.
All right. The Orioles, you got to look at more than attendance. The Orioles television ratings are huge this year. One of the biggest in baseball. When you walk around the city of Baltimore, even the state of Maryland, people are wearing Oriole clothes. They're talking about the Orioles. That's bringing the fan base back. If you bring up attendance numbers from the past 10 years since the Nationals came, this year is set up to be one of the highest attendance since that point.
How do you think our attendance compares with the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Blue Jays? Do you think our attendance is worse than those or about the same as those teams?
I don't know. I haven't paid attention.
Those are big market towns. So
But Josh,
you have to remember.
Not so long ago, we were selling out every game. Not so long ago.
When?
1995.
Yeah.
You couldn't get a ticket to Camden Yards.
Yeah. Camden Yards was brand new, and there was no team in Washington. Adding the team in Washington takes a lot of corporate money away, a lot of corporate boxes, a lot of fans away that are now Nats fans.
So you're okay with a stadium half full when we're in first place in August? You're okay with that?
It wasn't half full. This year, the Boston Red Sox average attendance is 36,000 a game.
That's a lot better than the Orioles, probably. What's ours? Probably like 25,000.
I will look it up. I think it's around 26, 27.
Yeah, that's the.
Yeah, but you're comparing apples to oranges. You're comparing Boston to Baltimore.
I don't understand that. What's the purpose of this conversation? We're trying to convince people to go to ball games. We already go to 20 games a year. I'm not going to any more than I already do because I watch it on TV where it's air conditioned.
And that's my point. Is Baltimore's at 26,000. Last year we were at 29,000, which is the bump of season ticket sales from the season before when we went to the ALCS.
That's paid attendance because
a
lot of people fell off.
And this math of right now we're at 26,000, that number at the end of the season is going to go up because in September when it's meaningful games and playoffs and stuff, that all is going to increase with larger crowds.
Okay. Just so we're all clear, Josh, just so you're clear, you're okay with Seattle, San Diego, Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, Washington, all having higher attendance than us. You think it's okay? We're ranked 20th in attendance, and that's okay with you.
Yeah, and look at TV. We're like 10th for TV.
Okay.
We're great for television.
Who cares about television? Like, why aren't
Because
Oriole
that's where-
fans coming out and supporting their team?
Where do you think the team makes the money from? Attendance or television?
But Josh,
They make more money from television.
I know they do. I understand how baseball works. But I'm saying it looks good for you to have a full stadium. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to go to a game when your team is in first place to go to a home game and have just as many of your opponent's fans in that stadium as Oriole fans. It's embarrassing, and I hate it.
It wasn't 50-50 yesterday.
It felt like it when they scored.
It wasn't.
The reality is we might be in first place or a game out of first place, but the Boston Red Sox are playing great right now.
And
we're playing crappy.
So are we.
We're not playing great right now.
We're ahead of them in the standings.
No, we're not.
Tied with them.
We're tied with them.
We were. Last night we were.
No, we
went
weren't.
to the game.
Oh, we were ahead when the
We were a
game
game
started.
ahead
Yeah,
when the
yeah,
game started.
I don't know. They're coming off a West
I don't
Coast
know why
road trip where they almost got swept 4 games by the Oakland Athletics. Are you kidding me?
It's
it's
really hot. Every single person from Severna Park is going to these games because it's their last chance to see Big Papi.
Okay, fine. And Josh, I'm glad you're like I understand Bert because Bert was not at the game yesterday. I don't understand how you can go to the game yesterday, hear all those Boston fans, and just be cool with it. The fact that they're so loud in our stadium. It pisses me off.
I'm not saying I'm cool with it. I'm saying there's no point in yelling at Oriole fans. Oriole fans have gotten behind this team. We've seen huge improvements in TV, in Orioles spirit around of people talking Orioles and wearing Orioles.
How come they're not at the stadium?
Because it's 2,000 degrees outside.
We went.
Yeah, we went.
Why? And why did we go but they didn't go?
We're not your average fan.
Yeah, and why aren't there more above average fans?
We went during all the ugly seasons.
Yeah.
Why is there not more above average fans? Because you went 14 seasons of crap.
So we have a bunch of fair weather fans. Is that what you're telling me?
No, I'm saying we have a whole lot of people who their entire life are now just starting to see Orioles win. If you are 10 years old...
That sounds like a fair weather fan, but okay.
No, it's a kid. It's called a kid. If your entire life, while you're learning to love baseball, the Orioles are trash, you're going to grow up in Severna Park as a Red Sox fan.
No. I grew up in Arnold right next door, not a Boston
When you
fan.
were a kid, the Orioles were good.
I even had friends who grew up in Severna Park, who were Oriole fans.
I like Severna Park.
When I grew up, they weren't good.
Yes, they were.
No, they weren't. When I was a kid, they weren't good.
They were good.
No, they weren't.
They were good in the mid-90s. They were good in 89. Camden Yards was brand new. There was no Nationals. Yes.
When was the last World Series they won? 1983.
Yeah.
Before I was born.
Sure.
Yeah.
But they were still good. They were competitive.
Okay, they were competitive. Sure.
All right.
I mean,
as a
it's
kid,
not like Boston wasn't winning World Series either.
As a kid, who was your favorite Oriole?
Mike Messina.
All right. If you were, so what were you, 12 when Mike Messina was pitching for the Orioles?
Sounds about right, yeah.
10, 12?
Yeah.
All right. So if you were 10 or 12 in 2003, who's your favorite Oriole?
Ty Wigington.
I mean, it's crap. You
Rodrigo Lopez.
You gotta forgive that these kids
Aubrey Huff.
don't understand how to cheer, how to be Oriole fans, because they haven't been.
Is that why attendance is low?
I think I listed like 5 reasons attendance is low, but yes, that's part of it.
Okay, but I just see bad teams who have better than attendance than us. I don't know why. Why does Milwaukee have better attendance than we do?
Name one thing to do in Milwaukee besides the Brewers.
Drink beer. Name one thing to do in Baltimore besides go to see Orioles.
The Brewers have that guy that slides down the slide every time they hit a home run, right? I would go to see that.
So you're saying the Oriole bird sucks?
The Oriole bird needs a slide. That's what he needs.
Or a train.
Anything.
Anything would be nice for the Oriole bird.
A drone that he could fly. Oh, it's starting to rain. Great.
Have you watched Hard Knocks?
No.
They've
Not since the Ravens were
They
on.
now have these robotic little, they look like punching dummies and their own like wheels, and they control them with like a remote control car remote, and then the guys go and tackle them. It's weird.
So Josh, attendance not an issue for you.
I think there's no point in complaining about it.
And Bert, attendance not an issue for you.
Not the way they're playing right now, no. If we had a 7.5 game lead and we were crushing everybody and the attendance was this bad, it'd be a problem. My pessimistic side's coming out. Guys, they're playing like crap lately. There's nothing. Yeah, totally.
Did you see that comeback against the Giants?
Yeah, they got lucky. Are you kidding me?
Home run, Scopes
Yeah,
dong.
yeah,
In the
yeah.
8th was lucky.
It was 3 rows deep. That was it. That West Coast road trip stunk. This is a team that had a 7-game lead in first place, or a 6-game lead in first place.
It's tough traveling to the West Coast.
When you left for Africa, even before you left for Africa, what we were like 6 games up at one point.
I don't know if it was 6, but we were up a good bit. Yeah.
They're inconsistent. Completely inconsistent.
Yeah, it's about that time where they go on a 7-game win streak now, right?
All right, I'll believe it when I see it.
Once they play like crap, this is how they do it.
That should be what the Astros are for.
Win streak.
You know what you have to do to get on a 7-game win streak? You got to score more than 1 run a game
and play some bad teams.
Well, and that's the problem, right? If you look at the schedule, we play right now. We're playing Boston, then play Houston, who's really good.
Yep.
The Astros are a good baseball team, and then we play the Nationals, who are the second best record in all of baseball.
4 games against them.
A great baseball team, and then I think after that we play. I think the Yankees, who are above 500, who are still playing good ball. And then I think we play Toronto.
Yep.
Again, a great base. And then I think we play the Yankees again. So, I mean, our schedule is hard.
So you can understand why I'm feeling pessimistic.
I fully understand.
Yeah.
I fully understand.
We have so many missed opportunities where we've lost against crappy teams that we could have taken advantage of getting a little healthier lead for when we play these tough teams, but we didn't.
Yep.
We lost 3 out of 4 to the Oakland Athletics. Unacceptable
and
for a team that wants to win the American League East. Yeah. Are you serious?
And what about the Giants, who, when we played them, they had the worst record since the All-Star break in all of baseball.
Yep. If their bullpen doesn't collapse in that 9th inning, we're leaving the West Coast with 2 wins. It's the truth. That 9th inning collapse their bullpen is the only reason we salvaged. Yeah. And this is the only reason we left San Francisco with a good feeling in our mouth, because otherwise we lose that game, forget it.
But what about the argument that we just need to get back home, and we play a lot more home games now than we do away games? What's the argument for now that we're at home, we'll start winning again?
Yeah, because we're playing spectacular at home right now.
Okay.
Right. Because remember,
all right.
we didn't get a hit till the 7th inning last night, but we're awesome.
Remember, just wait till it warms up. That ball is going to fly.
That's right. And Josh is picking up on my pessimism.
Not really, but it's fun.
I love the Orioles.
All right, boys and girls, we hope you enjoyed this show with the boys back in town. The boys all back together.
You guys want to go away for a few more weeks?
Yeah, they're going to send us out, or send me out at least.
Yeah. No, you're here to stay, Bert, and the Orioles are here to stay as well.
We'll see everybody on Saturday at Camden Yards.
Yeah, absolutely. Bunch of us coming out in the game on Saturday. If you have tickets for the game, stop by Section 336.
We won't be there.
No, what section will we be in?
We're like 376 or something.
Oh, it's not 376?
No,
we got garbage?
We wanted to get reasonable tickets, and because of the bobblehead, they jacked the prices up of the tickets in 336. We're like,
typical Orioles, low attendance, jack up the price.
Right.
But at least if you got our tickets through us, you will get the cheapest tickets in town.
Yeah, there's a couple left.
Totally.
$15.
Yeah, $15. Can't beat that. Go and write us a review on iTunes. I think the entire time I was in Africa, not a single person wrote a review on iTunes. Is that true?
They wrote really good reviews, but they sent them to me personally, and I was embarrassed to share it because they just requested you guys to stay away.
Oh.
So
I want to get this in the camera, me rolling my eyes. That's the whole head eye roll.
I was going to say, no eyes rolled there. Your head just moved.
My head eye roll completely. So you can go ahead and write us a review on iTunes.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have a good review.
Subscribe to Section 336. Just search for us on iTunes. Just search Orioles or Section 336, and we'll pop up there. Write us a nice review. We would appreciate it.
Check out the video on Facebook. Share the video on Facebook. Help us get the word out. We now have right up here in our Facebook ad.
Yeah.
There's a little spot for sponsors because we've been getting some good video views. So we're going to start putting some sponsorships up there.
Hey-o.
People to help us out. Right now, you'll see Utah Street and Russell Street and the Trumbo shirts.
Yeah.
Which
we're fans of all those things.
Right.
Trumbo shirts, Russell Street Report, best site for Ravens news.
Absolutely.
Utah Street Report, best site for Orioles news.
Right.
I should write an article about this Bundy thing and we fire it up.
All right. Write an attendance article, too.
I think we're opposite sides of the fence on that one. You can like us on Facebook, all that good stuff. Follow us on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at Section 336. You can follow Bert
at Bert Rohde.
You can follow Josh
at Josh Soroka.
Thanks for listening, boys and girls. And as always, go O's.
Section 336 is a affiliate of 24/7 Networks. Find Section 336 on UtahStreetReport.com.